Good morning everyone. Today we will going to discuss about anatomy and physiology of stomach. First we will discuss about anatomy of stomach. Coming to the location. Where the stomach is located, actually the stomach is located towards the left side of the abdominal cavity, and coming to the shape, it is C-shaped cavity. And so the C-shaped cavity is a stomach which is located in the left side of the abdominal cavity, nearly hidden by the liver and the diaphragm. And next, coming to the function of the stomach in a single line, the function is majorly it acts as temporary storage tank for food, and as well as it is the main site for digestion of food. Remember, this is a single line which will explains the function of the stomach, that is it is a temporary storage tank for food, actual as well as and site for actual digestion of the food. And next, coming to the in detail about the anatomy. So here the stomach is having dividing into four parts, that is cardiac, fundus, body and pylorus. See in a diagrammatic representation, clear identification I will go with this diagram. So here see stomach, which consisting of cardiac, fundus, body as well as pylorus region. And here at the entry, at the starting of the stomach, it is actually stomach is continuation of the esophagus. So here we are having a sphincter muscle called as cardiac esophageal sphincter, and as well as at the end we are having the sphincter muscles to prevent the unnecessary movement of food from the stomach to small intestine. Here we are having pyloric sphincter muscles which will prevent the unnecessary entry of movement of food from stomach to small intestine. Nothing but undigested amount of food entered into the small intestine will be prevented by this pyloric sphincter. See, the stomach is dividing into four parts, that is cardiac, fundus, body and pylorus. Here we are having a sphincter muscle which control the movement of food from esophagus to stomach is cardiac esophageal sphincter. Here another muscle which controls the movement of food from stomach to small intestine. Here we are having a muscle called as pyloric sphincter muscles. Okay, and actually along with these things we are going to discuss about the anatomy of stomach, that is it is arranged in four layers, that is outer peritoneum, muscularis, submucous and inner mucous layer. See, inner mucous layer, the arrangement is here in three forms, that is see inner oblique. See, this is arrangement here, it is oblique shape, inner oblique and middle circular and outer longitudinal. See here, oblique muscle layer, overlying mucosa, circular muscle layer and longitudinal muscle layer. Is it clear here? So now we are going to discuss about the fundus, body and pylorus region clearly. So stomach is dividing into four parts, everyone know that. Next, first coming to the cardiac region. So cardiac region, the cardiac region surrounds the cardioesophageal sphincter through which food enters the stomach from the esophagus. So whenever food will be moved from mouth to esophagus, from esophagus to stomach, the movement of food will be takes place through the cardioesophageal sphincter, the muscle which will contract, and it will allows the movement of food from esophagus to stomach. And next, fundus is the expanded part of the stomach, nothing but see here, this is expanded part, this expanded part we are calling as fundus. So fundus is the expanded part of the stomach which is lateral to the cardiac region. See, cardiac region is present here, so it is a lateral to the cardiac region. So that's why fundus is an extended portion as well as it is a lateral arrangement to the cardiac region. And next, coming to the body. Body is the mid portion as it narrows inferiorly. So see, body is the mid portion and it is narrows towards the inferiorly, it becomes the pyloric antrum, and then the funnel shaped pylorus takes place. See, pyloric antrum, this we are calling as pyloric antrum, nothing but it looks like a funnel. See, like this, the shape, it is a funnel like shape. And it is the pylorus is next. Coming to the pylorus, the pylorus is the terminal part of the stomach, and it is continuous with the small intestine through the pyloric sphincter or valve. Already whatever we discussed, pylorus is the ending part, and the continuation of the stomach towards the small intestine is takes place through this pylorus only. Here the movement or continuation of food from stomach to small intestine takes place through this pyloric sphincter or pyloric valve. Okay, next coming to the size here, the stomach varies from 15 centimeters to 25 centimeters in length, and coming to the volume, it is 4 liters. Actually, when the food contains it, the distension of the stomach will be takes place up to this capacity. But whenever the stomach is empty, nothing but you can't take food for a longer time, then the stomach is empty, then automatically the mucus, that is innermost layer, the mucus of the stomach is thrown into large foldings, that we are calling as rugae, rugae, that we are calling as rugae. Okay, and nothing but whenever the stomach is empty, the inner mucus of the stomach is forming in large folds or thrown into large folds, that we are calling as rugae. So rugae is formed only whenever the stomach is empty. And next coming to the curvatures here, see here the concave shape, see concave shape which represents the lesser curvature, and the convex shape which represents the greater curvature of the stomach. And next coming to the layers of the stomach, already we discussed about this from the starting class itself. Again we go through with this. Stomach layers are arranged in four layers. Outer serosa layer, it is also known as fibrous layer, but here outer serous layer which is formed by peritoneum. And next muscularis layer, here made up of 3 layers of muscle layers. Here only smooth muscle fibers are present in the stomach. Already we see in the diagram, that is inner oblique, middle circular, and outer longitudinal muscle fibers. The arrangement of smooth muscle fibers, based on that arrangement the shape will be there oblique. So inner oblique layer, circular arrangement, middle circular layer, and outer longitudinal layer. The arrangement of smooth muscle fibers here, it is longitudinal. Next coming to the submucosa. So submucosa, already we discussed this, formed by areolar tissue, nothing but connective tissue, which consisting of blood vessels, lymph vessels, and nerve plexus. Next coming to the inner mucus layer. So inner mucus layer, it is lined by mucus secreting columnar epithelial cells. The gastric glands are situated in this layer. That is one of the important thing in the mucosa layer of the stomach. It is different from the other mucosa layers. So mucosa layer of the stomach which is having gastric glands. And next, under resting conditions, the mucosa of the stomach is thrown into many folds known as rugae. The rugae disappears when the stomach is distend after meals. Already I said, during empty conditions only the rugae form. Whenever you are taking food, automatically the rugae will be disappear by the distension of the stomach. Throughout the inner mucus layer, we are having a small depressions called gastric pits. Gastric pits, P-I-T-S. So the glands of the stomach open into these pits. The inner surface of the mucus is covered by 2 mm thickness mucus. And the inner mucus layer is having 2 mm thick mucus in nature. Okay, and why? Because here the 2 mm thick mucus layer helpful for damaging the mucus layer towards by the gastric secretions, mainly by the HCl. Okay, next coming to the other things regarding the anatomy as well as physiology. Here the stomach consisting of an intrinsic factor, nothing but some stomach cells produce intrinsic factor, a substance needed for the absorption of vitamin B12 from the small intestine. Nothing but where the actual intrinsic factor is secreted means intrinsic factor will be secreted from the cells of the stomach, which will mainly helpful for absorption of vitamin B12. Where the absorption takes place in the small intestine. So the absorption of vitamin B12 is for the absorption of vitamin B12 intrinsic factor is necessary. Chief cells are produce protein digesting enzymes, mostly pepsinogens. So chief cells produce protein digesting enzymes, that is pepsinogens. Already you know the function of pepsinogens. Pepsinogen is converting into pepsin, that will mainly helpful for digestion of the proteins. And next, parietal cells. Parietal cells produce corrosive HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, which makes the stomach contents acidic and activates the enzymes. Different enzymes will be activated in the stomach for the digestion of the food, but it takes place by the HCl itself. HCl, by maintaining the acidic nature of the stomach, the pH of the stomach, automatically the activation of the different enzymes will be takes place, which will responsible for digestion. Next, enteroendocrine cells. Enteroendocrine cells is nothing but which produce local hormones, that is gastrin. That are important to the digestive activity of the stomach. And next, chyme. Chyme is nothing but the processed food we are calling as chyme. Nothing but after food has been processed, it will forming an heavy cream like nature of the food, that we are calling as chyme. Okay. Actually, after this we have to discuss about phases of gastric acid secretion, but once you completing the anatomy and physiology of the stomach, later in the next class we will discuss about the phases of acid secretion or production of acid in the stomach, as well as their important role and their control by the autonomic nervous system. Okay, in this again anatomy is completed. Right now we are going to discuss about the functions of the stomach or physiology of the stomach or activities of the stomach. In these three things, the same meaning will be resembling here. Now the two main activities will be performed by the stomach, that is food breakdown as well as food propulsion. So first we discuss about food breakdown. Nothing but breakdown of food, nothing but mechanical digestion. Simply we are calling as mechanical digestion. How the mechanical digestion will be takes place? So when the sight, smell and taste of food takes place, automatically it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, then which increases the secretion of gastric juice by the stomach glands. Actually, the secretion of gastric juice is an involuntary in function. Nothing but whenever you can see food or you can smell it or you can taste it, automatically it will stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which will increases the secretion of gastric juice by the stomach glands. So individually we discuss about the each point of mechanical digestion. Gastric juice. The secretion of gastric juice is regulated by both neuronal as well as hormonal factors. Neuronal is comes under parasympathetic nervous system, as well as it will comes under hormonal factors. Next, coming to the gastrin. The presence of food and a rising pH in the stomach stimulates the stomach cells to release the hormone gastrin. Nothing but whenever the pH of the stomach will be rising, then automatically when the pH of the stomach will be rising due to the presence of food. So simply by the presence of food, the rising of pH takes place in the stomach, which stimulates the stomach to release the stomach cells to release the hormone gastrin. So which helps to produce more amount of digestive enzymes, that is pepsinogen, mucus and hydrochloric acid. Next, coming to the pepsinogen. Actually, pepsinogen mainly it is an inactive digesting enzyme. It will be converting into active digesting enzyme, that is pepsin, due to the presence of HCl. So the acidic environment that provided by the HCl is necessary because it activates pepsinogen into pepsin. The pepsin actually it is a protein digesting enzyme. And next, renin. Renin, everyone know that it is the second protein digesting enzymes produced by the stomach, which will mainly converting the caseinogen into casein. Nothing but it will mainly helpful for digestion of milk proteins. It is mainly helpful for digestion of milk proteins, converting caseinogen into casein. And next, food entry. As food enters and fills the stomach, it walls being to stretch at the same time as the gastric juices are being secreted. Nothing but food entry, what happened, distension of the stretching of the stomach walls will be takes place, that automatically helpful for involuntary secretion of the gastric juices at the same time. And next, stomach wall activation. When the three muscle layers of the stomach, that is inner oblique, middle circular and outer longitudinal layers of the stomach wall become active, they compress the pummel the food, compress and pummel the food. Pummel means striking the food. So continuous compress and striking of the food, what happened, breaking, nothing but physical breakdown will be takes place here, and all continuously mixing the food with the enzyme containing gastric juices, so that semi-fluid chyme is formed here. Semi-fluid chyme is formed here. Here two different things will be happening, physical digestion as well as chemical digestion. Chemical digestion by the help of food, gastric juices, gastrin, pepsinogen as well as renin, but physical digestion is takes place by the help of nothing but mechanical digestion will be takes place by the help of stomach wall activation and by the food entry process. Next, coming to the food propulsion. Food propulsion is nothing but movement. Mainly peristalsis is responsible for the movement of food towards the digestive site until the intestines. So peristalsis, once the food, what is meant by peristalsis? Once the food has been well mixed, a rippling peristalsis begin in the upper half of the stomach, and contractions increases in force as the food approaches the pyloric valve. So what happened here, once the food is completely mixed with the gastric juices, and automatically the peristalsis is begin in the upper half of the stomach, and automatically the contractions of the stomach will increasing the force of the food to move towards the pyloric valve. And next, pyloric passage. The pylorus of the stomach, which holds about 30 ml of chyme, it acts like a meter that allows only liquids and very small particles to pass through the pyloric sphincter. So nothing but pyloric sphincter is the passage controlling the passage of movement from food from stomach to small intestine. Here the pyloric passage, only a 30 ml of chyme will be entered into the intestine. Mainly the chyme, which is in nature, which containing only liquids and very small particles, and by the each contraction of the stomach muscle, it will squirts 3 ml or less of chyme into the small intestine. Okay. And next, enterogas, nothing but here indicates that only small amount of chyme will be entered into the intestine in a time based interval. Nothing but time based interval is nothing but based on the nature of the food, that is only liquids and very small particles only pass through the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine. And next, enterogastric reflex. When the duodenum is filled with the chyme, and its wall is stretched, a nervous reflex occurs. This reflex puts the brakes on gastric activity and slowing the emptying of the stomach by inhibiting the vagus nerve and tightening the pyloric sphincter, thus allowing time for internal processing to catch up. Nothing but in simple long ways, whenever a nervous reflex takes place, whereby stretching of the wall of the duodenum results in inhibition of gastric motility and reduced rate of emptying of the stomach. Ante whenever a stomach is nervous reflex will be takes place by the duodenum, automatically the inhibition of the gastric motility takes place and reducing rate of emptying of the stomach is also takes place. It is a feedback mechanism to regulate the rate at which partially digested food means chyme leaves the stomach and enters the small intestine. Nothing but based on the feedback mechanism only, the entering and leaving of the food from the stomach and small intestine will be takes place. Nothing but it is involuntarily it will takes place. It is under control of nervous mechanism. So today you have an idea about anatomy and physiology of stomach. In tomorrow's class we will discuss about the secretion of or production of acid in the stomach. That is also important in the physiology of the stomach. Thank you for listening.